Okay.
Chelsea. Yeah. We will too, guys. Yeah.
I'll stick around and hear what you have to say.
All right.
We got to start. We're back on 5.
I've been running around like crazy. I got 1 hour of sleep last night. My boss called me at midnight.
You want to go back to your old home?
I know.
Easy choice to say you actually know the area.
And now the new one
Okay.
is that we
This
want
is gonna.
This is a lot for like a one person.
What?
But for them to send you by yourself.
It's really. I don't think it is. I don't know. We have other crews here. I'm gonna meet up with in a minute.
There's no news on Monday.
Like it's been pretty low pressure. I think.
That's right there, right?
That love. Okay. Thank you, Chelsea.
Hey, Duffy, give me my check quick, just make sure we're all good.
Mic check, mic check. Check, 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 check.
Thanks.
Check,
One
check.
more time, please.
Mic check. Check, check. Do y'all hear me? Good?
One more time.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check, 1, 2, 3. Mic check.
I need some sleep. My headphones are.
Oh, that one?
Well, I don't rely on levels. All right, Chelsea, one more time.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mic check, mic check.
Perfect. Oh.
So I think it's just you. I don't really have
Okay.
Thanks for your patience. Chad Russell, CHADRUSSELL. I'm the fire chief in Andover. So, updates from today. Very excited this morning to tell you that we had no outstanding rescues, no new injuries, and no reported fatalities. I'm even more excited to say we finished our primary and secondary searches, and we are confirming that we have no fatalities from this incident. That was the one thing that we're worried about, obviously. We do have significant property damage in some of the neighborhoods throughout the community, but we have no new injuries as well. We're concerned about folks coming back into their homes and starting to do some work. So if we could reach out to them and just say, make sure you're watching for structural instability. It was a little breezy today. We expect some wind tomorrow as well, and maybe even some weather tomorrow evening. So if you're around any structure that has damage to it, please understand that it can fall on you now. It's a different structure than it was before, so please be careful doing that. If you are not from here, please continue to stay out of the city. We have the electrical situation taken care of. Evergy's done a great job getting that squared away, but we still have a lot of congestion in the community, and we're having trouble keeping paths open just for emergency responders to make other calls. We continue to have other types of calls, so we would appreciate it. Unless you need to be here, please give us time to get ready for you. The folks in the Reflection Lake neighborhood, just to the south of us here specifically, Minnehaha is very congested, and we're very concerned about getting calls and not being able to respond there. Normally, we would not park up on the grass in Andover necessarily, but we're asking you to please do that on Minnehaha. Help us keep Minnehaha Drive open. And I do have an updated number. So far, I haven't said anything too exciting except the fatality count, obviously, but we have a little bit more data. We've been working on getting those damage assessments back and being able to give you some numbers. So our number of buildings in the path has actually increased to 1,074. It was 966 before. You'll see behind me the map shows that the path was a little bit farther north than we anticipated. So when we got into the sunlight, we were able to see that we had a little bit more buildings, up to 1,074. And now I'm able to announce that as the data is starting to come in through our GIS folks, we performed search and rescue on at least 176 buildings. That number is going to increase. We did search more buildings than that, but that's the ones that we can verify for now. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Captain Graber from the Andover Police Department.
Thank you. Ben Graber, Captain of the Andover Police Department. Really, the only updates I have, US 54 is open eastbound all the way through the city and into the county. Westbound is still closed at Santa Fe Lake Road. They're detouring people north to either 21st Street or 254. Not sure, it may be a day or two before we can get westbound open again. We're working on getting power lines out of the way. As Chief Russell said, we are restricting residents and friends that are residents of Reflection Lakes in that area for now. We just want to make sure that there isn't too many people out and about. So please avoid that area if you don't live there, if you don't or aren't there with somebody else. There is a addition off Harry that is being restricted, one cul-de-sac, Lantern Lane. That area is being restricted currently due to damage, but other than that, every other major road should be open, and access around the city should be good other than 54 Highway. So with that, I will give it over to Carrie with Emergency Management.
Good afternoon. Carrie Cordals, K-E-R-I-K-O-R-T-H-A-L-S. I'm the Director of Emergency Management for Butler County. We are aware that there are a significant number of people that would like to in some way contribute to the community of Andover, whether that's through gifts, donations, time. And I know many of you are waiting with bated breath to figure out when we have a plan to accept time and donations. At this point, when it comes to actual donations, we continue to ask, if at all possible, funds or financial donations are really the best course of action. Those are being managed through the United Way's website. There are links on their website that will allow you to direct your donation to the Andover efforts. Because we are not entirely 100% aware of what the needs are in the community, that's why we're not making any specific requests for donations at this time, because we really ideally, if we're going to get physical donations, would like to match donations with the need. Same thing goes for the volunteerism. We definitely will have a time where we will have a good use for volunteers, but again, we want to make sure that we've identified the need and matched that with the appropriate volunteer resources. So we ask that you wait patiently. We are working in cooperation with the United Way and the city to start identifying some of those needs. We will make sure that that is shared, that information is made publicly available as to how to contribute your time, where to report to, who to call, and to get you routed in the right direction. So at this time we ask, again, donations, please keep those in the financial realm, and for volunteerism, wait until you hear from us as to the needs so we can get that appropriately matched.
So to sum up, we have great news this morning and throughout the day. We have no fatalities. We have no further injuries than what we were reporting last night. Those cash donations can be made at unitedwayplains.org. You can call 211 to report damage to your home. You can also call 211 for any of those other donation efforts. If you're on a live feed, that's good. If you're not on a live feed, don't cut this piece off. Thank you so much for our neighbors. We're a small community, and we could not have done the emergency response we did without our neighbors coming to help. And the entire region came to help us. So we thank them so much. There's too many names to name, but you all know who you are. So thank you so much for coming to help us. With that, we'd try to answer some questions for you.
Chief, do you have any update on the injuries, how they're doing?
So the injuries in Andover were all minor injuries, so they were treated and released. We had 4, and 2 of those were firefighters involved in the efforts last night, and everyone was stable. There were some injuries in Sedgwick County, and I'm sorry, I haven't gotten much sleep, so I'm a little foggy on the numbers, so I'm not going to speak to those, but I know they had at least 1 that was serious. I think it was 2, but it might, yeah.
That's okay.
What else?
Talk a little bit about just, it feels kind of miraculous seeing all this damage walking around here today, that there was no deaths, no real, for what sounds like significant injuries. Talk about just kind of how this came together to where it avoided any sort of major tragedies. Well,
I tell you, I'm going to try not to get emotional about that one. It's absolutely a miracle. I've been to a few of these, and to have the damage that we have in our community and not have deaths is just a miracle. We talked about the alerting last night. You know, one of the common themes of these is, were the alerts put out in time? The alerts were put out so fast. I was affected by this. My house did not get hit, but we had to take cover. It's just on the east edge of the path. And so we were watching those alerts. It came out so fast, but that storm spun up immediately. It went from a storm to a severe thunderstorm warning to a tornado in minutes. And to have everyone get in their basements, it's just a miracle that we don't have bad injuries and certainly deaths. So I don't have any other way to explain it.
Do you have an idea about homes destroyed, damage, or when will you have something like that?
Yeah, we're going to continue to work on that. We have all the GIS data, and I'm kind of an open guy, so I'll just tell you, we're inputting that data, but some of it is corrupted, so we've got our IT folks working on uncorrupting that data. So that 176 number we gave you, that's how many homes we searched, excuse me, not homes, how many buildings we searched. And so you can take from that, those were significantly damaged structures. That number is going to get bigger as we continue to work through the data. Yes, sir.
And even outside of, damage in homes and buildings damage, as it relates to other updates, when can we expect something? Can we expect something?
Yeah, so we're not going to have another media briefing. We're going to move to press releases. So we'll have a release out in the morning. And I did not ask my PIO when we'll have that out, so I better not give her a time. How about let's put her on a deadline? So we're going to have something for you by 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Chief, how long is that path there, would you say?
I have not added it up, but I will tell you that if you look at the bottom part of the path, it started in Sedgwick County and it went almost to Benton, Kansas. We thought that it stopped around 60th. We kept getting reports of debris north of 60th, and in the command post, we thought that was a debris path, not a storm path. So we were surprised this morning when we found that we actually did have damage from 60th to 30th.
And how wide was it?
It was not very wide, thankfully, but when you start getting pictures, and I still haven't had a chance to look at any of your stuff. We've been in the command post, but when you see the pictures of houses and buildings completely wiped off their slabs, I mean, that's stuff we see when these giant wedge tornadoes come through. So even though the path wasn't wide, there were points where this tornado was very strong.
Talk about when you were at home and you saw the tornado.
Well,
Describe
yeah.
what happened.
So I was watching because of my responsibility to the community, and I was watching as many sources as I could, and I saw it spin up live on Facebook, actually. And my wife and I were on the back porch, and our back porch faces this direction, and we stepped out, and I was able to give reports back into emergency management on the radio up until the time we had to take cover. So it was interesting. It was scary, and I'm just so fortunate. We had debris immediately, and debris all the way up to the cloud base. That means you've got a strong updraft. So I knew we had significant damage. Our neighbors from Rose Hill were already coming up immediately. They were in the trucks and they were heading up this way. So really neighbor to neighbor effort. Anything else?
Talk about what the rebuilding process is going to look like here. Also, just driving around this afternoon, it's been just so inspiring seeing so many neighbors out. I mean, 30 people in one yard. I know 30 people don't live there, but so many people helping others out. Just talk a little bit about that, and then also the rebuilding process.
Yeah, we're trying to wrap our heads around how we can help in the recovery effort, and mainly trying to keep things organized and do the best job for the most good. I think the main thing I would say about that is, isn't that what's great about America and Kansas? I was going to say Kansas because I'm a Kansas boy, right? But that's who we are as Americans, and it's just neighbors helping neighbors. It's just this is what we do every day, and to see the community come out and help is just really inspiring.
Any estimates of how long it could take to rebuild?
Well, the city of Andover will be affected for this for years. We still have scars from 1991. So I'm so thankful this tornado was not as bad as that, but we will literally be doing this for years.
Might
So
be a meteorologist question, but like, did you get any more information about like the tornado? You said it got stronger as it went to the north.
Yeah.
Have you learned any more about?
Right. So National Weather Service was coming. I told you that this morning. I was not here for the noon briefing, but they have been working on their damage assessments. We don't have anything preliminary from them yet, but we'll let them give that information out to you.